What is going on? What's up, fishing fam? Welcome back to Fishing with Gramps. We're right here again, Saturday night before Debo. It's like the pre-Debo show, but it's the way it goes. But we're going to be here tonight. Going to bring in a special guest. But first, I got to go through and do a roll call to say hi to all the fishing families already joined in the chat. I saw our good friend Carol Ferg. She was early and on the spot. She was listening in to the earlier live stream with Chad Hoover when we discussed our weight loss challenge coming up here in 2023. And I see we got Scott in the house, got John Battani in the house talking about, that's right, that good old Army victory over Navy today in overtime. The boys got it done. Basically a goal line stance, punch the ball out, kick the field goal for the victory. Got to love it. And then we got Frank in the house. Hope everybody had a good week. It's I know our friends down south are still fishing. Up here, the water's in the mid-30s. I actually took the kayaks, wrapped them up in their trailer, wrapped them up on the trailer, put their covers on them, and now they're all sitting up on the hill. They're actually up there behind the boat, which I'm going to pull the boat down off of the hill and park down in here in the garage and get my rods loaded up into it as well, so that if we get a decent day out here, we can pop out on the water in the boat and at least do some fishing over the winter. Looks like we might have had some opportunity maybe tomorrow, but since I'm going to be in Florida for the Christmas weekend, well, I might have to go pop out on the water somewhere. I've got some things in the works, so maybe we can make that happen. Grant and I are flying in on a Thursday and flying back on a Monday. So she said if I wanted to go fish on Saturday or Sunday or Friday or Saturday, then, we can do that. So we'll wait and see what happens, but not going to do a super long stream tonight. Got the fam here. All three grandbabes are in the house. They're actually out there in the kitchen with Gran baking up some Christmas cookies. But I got to leave them cookies alone because now we're in a weight loss challenge with Chad. We just got to get it done. Got to get it pumped up and ready to go. But enough of all the yapping. Glad to see we got some more folks in the house. I see my brother Jeremy's in the house. My brother Brian, my cousin Brian is in the house. And everybody's already going. The chat is already lively. But tonight, I wanted to bring in a special guest. I'm going to be focusing a lot on kayak bass fishing this next year, covering up all the adventures and the stuff that we plan on doing in the state challenges and the grubby tournaments and things like that. So you'll see the focus of the channel is really going to go to pushing to get everybody off the bank and into a kayak. Don't matter if you get you a $300 kayak to start out, or if you work your way up like I did over the years into something like the Kayak. But again, the focus is going to be obviously on bass fishing. I'm going to try to work on finishing up a lot of my tips and tricks stuff over the next couple of weeks. You guys will see those in the form of shorts. Some of the reviews I've got going, the rods and reels that I used in the national championship, and that I'll probably start out the season with coming up in 2023. But the focus next year when fishing season starts is really to do a better job of capturing the adventure and why we love fishing and why we love kayak bass fishing. But tonight I wanted to bring in somebody who's also big into kayak bass fishing. Let's pull him on in here and welcome in Ryan Rice of RJM Fishtales. Ryan, welcome to the show, bro.
Thanks for having me. What's going on, everybody?
Man, I tell you what, it's nice to find other folks out there that are kind of sharing their passion. That it's a lot of people don't realize too. If you're fishing a lot, and especially if you're doing like state challenges and tournaments and things like that, that it does take a bit more effort to throw some cameras on the back of it and try to capture kind of the what it is that we're doing, and then share that out with a lot of people. But I'm glad that you were able to come on, and you have a lot of good content on your channel. And I've said this often. I'm blessed enough to have other people pull me into their live streams and their channels, and I want to do the same with everybody else who's kind of getting started into it. As we know on YouTube, it's when you're just pushing up content, sometimes it's hard to get found or discovered, and it takes a while. It's a grind a lot of times. But I mean, it takes some, it could take years for some folks to get to 100 subscribers, and we all know how that goes. But again, I'm all about raising everybody up the way that I've been blessed to have other people pull me into their live streams. And, Ryan has got one of these channels, but let's start out with the basics. Tell us where your channel name come from and how you got into YouTube.
So the channel name RJM Fishtales is from, actually, it's my name, Ryan, my son's name, Jared, and my wife's name, Meredith. So I just figured I'd just do RJM Fishtales, and I just figured I'd just make it, fish tales, basically stories of, how we kayak fish. I mean, right now my son's too young to kayak fish, but I mean, he's going to be out here eventually. He's only 4. He's going to be 5 in July. So as soon as he's old enough to get out there and I feel safe with him being next to me, I'll get him on another kayak and we'll get him, out there on the water. But, I started this channel back in 2017, but I didn't do anything with it until last year. I started kayak fishing in 2017. I got my first Hobie PA-14 when I sold my boat. And, then my son was born, so I kind of went on the back seat for a little bit. I joined KBF in 2017. And then I kind of, once again, put that on the back burner, and I only really signed up again last year. So, I just wanted to get the channel name started and saved so nobody else would take it, just in case. And, I kind of started all my social media in 2017. Wasn't as big with it in 2017, but as this past year's gone, I'm just trying to just keep posting and keep sharing and just trying to keep building. My biggest thing right now is to get, monetized, because if people watch my channel, I do monthly giveaways and, I'm constantly giving away. Right now everything's coming out of my own pocket. So I'm just trying to get to that point where I can get a little bit of income in to help support it. And I don't know if anybody saw, but this past week too, also started on Thursday, Tackle for Veterans.
Yep.
I started a GoFundMe page. So I'm going to start out small, then my wife's going to help me start my company, and we're going to make RJM an actual business one day.
There you go.
Hopefully soon. This way we can just, our net proceeds can go to the veterans. And, I'm kind of looking for input from all of you guys of how we're going to nominate these veterans. So right now, I only got one donation of $25. I do have a goal right now of $5,000. So my first thing is I just kind of want to get a couple $100 together, and buy that first rod and reel for somebody. And then we can kind of figure out how we're going to nominate the veterans. And I just want to constantly just keep on giving month to month. Hopefully down the line, if I keep building that and then people realize it's not a scam, that's why I want to make it official with RJM, is that, we're just going to keep giving kayaks, and hopefully maybe one day I can get some sponsors to help along with that too as well. I know there's a lot of places out there now that do things for veterans, but, I want to make it more personal.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody watched the video, but once we nominate a veteran, I actually physically want to call them. I want to talk to them about what they fish for, what reels they use, because I don't want to send a bait casting reel to somebody that doesn't even know how to use one.
Yep.
I want to be able to purchase a spinning reel and a rod for them and send that out to them. So I want to make it more personal.
Yep.
So, that's my overall goal. That's really why I started YouTube. I wanted to share the experience. There's a lot of people, when I started YouTube, I noticed there wasn't a lot of monthly challenge videos out there.
Yep.
For KBF. So I was like, let me just start monthly challenges. And I figured people would like that. And, I'm starting to slowly build.
Yep.
I think they're like 500 and some, followers right now. So, I just want to keep building. And, I'm doing the how-to videos and everything too. Obviously you see the tube in the back. I'm working on getting things ready for my trailer.
Yep.
I'll do a video on how to, make that tube and how I painted it and made the color.
Yeah, because like I told you before, I'm really interested in how you painted that, because I just picked up another trailer, a second one. It's got 2 plain white tubes on it. And then when I saw that you had done that, I was like, dude, you need to share how you do that, because a lot of people who are doing the DIY trailers, that would come in really handy, and it looks really nice too. So I was like, yeah, man, if you find a spare scrap piece of PVC, just kind of show us how you did it. Because I think that looks really nice the way that came out.
Yeah, it's all done with semi-gloss this way. My wife says, oh, it looks like it's marble.
Yeah,
so,
it does look really cool. And then plus, if you want to put stickers on it, you have some, good to stick on. I think the first trailer I have, the guy went over it with, what's the stuff they spray in the bottom of the boats? The flex, like the Flex Seal kind of stuff, and stickers don't really stick to that very well.
Yeah.
So I was like, it makes the tube nice and hard and waterproof, and take a beating a little more. But the way that you did that one back there came out and looks really nice. And then I'm like, down the road, I'd like to get in on the water. I want to support another veteran-owned business as well. And, but right now I just want more trailers because there's at least, 3 in our group with trucks that want to travel a bit more and, be able to take more kayaks around. And as I build up, now being affiliated with, Johnson Outdoors with Old Town, Minn Kota, and Humminbird, and I pick up, more kayaks, I kind of want to have a bigger fleet to take around so that we could take more people out on the water and introduce them to kayak bass fishing if they're already fishing. So that's kind of my goal there. Now, I did notice, and I was going to say, when you were talking about your GoFundMe, one of the things that we do here to kind of stay away from, dealing with, like you said, you got people worried about getting scammed and what you're going to do and this and that. We just put out a call to the fishing fam, and we did this the year before last, kind of going in saying, hey, if you've got any like leftover baits in a bag, or if you've got any, rods and, especially reels, because rods are a pain in the ship. But if you've got any tackle that you're just, because everybody does that. We all fish throughout the season. You'll have a bunch of, quarter bag of this, a half a bag of that. And then we all shop for new stuff, in the wintertime. I was like, let's do a tackle collection, and then Jeremy and I will put together tackle kits and then hand them out to veterans or kids as we meet them. Man, we had so much stuff come in. I think Jeremy still probably got a third of that or maybe a quarter of it. And this is from the year before last, of where we collected all this stuff. And then we just take it and put it into, we can get some cheap tackle boxes at Walmart and basically build little kits. Then since then, we've got some cheaper ones, from Monster Bass and other places when they're on sale. But that's how we kind of get around with, trying to deal with people and money, and are you a nonprofit or, it's just one of those things. But regardless of how you do it, I commend you for taking the time and starting that, just because it's such a good cause. And like you said, sometimes it's hard to figure out where to take the stuff, maybe finding a Heroes on the Water chapter in your area. We used to have one here in Indiana, but I think it left, due to COVID. There just wasn't enough. But, we can work as a community to try to find places maybe in your area and other places down there. So if you have somebody that can benefit stuff, we can work, we can maybe help you find who to find to kind of help, kind of get that stuff out.
Okay.
So little man is 4 going on 5 now. Do you guys do a little? I think I've seen some videos back earlier in the channel, but have you got him out and done a little bank fishing and all that good stuff yet?
Oh yeah, he wants to go fishing. I have a little pond in my development. He wants to go fishing like all the time, but lately it's been raining down here. But yeah, they supposedly, the neighbors said they stocked the pond, but we'll see. They say they threw some bass in there. So I got to take him over there and give it a shot. But yeah, I take him bank fishing. I did a video for it. In the past, I did like a little thing taking him out. So at least he'll always have that on YouTube.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he wants to go fishing all the time. So
that's awesome. And I'll tell you what, there's no better job the older they get, being able, and I get it too, because I'm to that point where all my kids are grown and, now we're out, hopping in the boat or doing whatever. But it's, yeah, one's coming in with a grab baby, running, grab your shoes and going. But it's always fun to be able to do that. But now I'm kind of in that waiting pattern now with the grandbabies to get old enough. My oldest Sky is 7. And then, I've got a granddaughter, Lila, that's 4. And then Peyton is 2. But I can't wait till, they get a little bit older where we can get them out and do the same things. I've got a low fishing boat too that seems to just sit here and not get as much action, since we love kayak fishing, and it's something we spend a whole lot of our time with. Now, I did see, talk a little bit about how you got into the kayak bass fishing state challenges, what kind of drew you to it, and how you do, because I've seen your name at the top of that leaderboard. I ain't never done anything that good up here, but tell us a little bit how you kind of got into it, and then how you kind of worked your way up, because I know it takes a bit for somebody to kind of get up to the levels where they're competitive in their states. But kind of walk us through how you did it, how long you've been fishing, and kind of how you just got to where you are, where you can kind of smoke them like you have been.
Yeah, I mean, when KBF, when I was looking at it in 2017, kind of I saw this. I think the state challenges were even back then. That's what kind of drew me to it because you can do it at your own leisure and everything. But when you first go out and you practice taking the pictures of the fish on the bump board, at first the fish are flopping around. You learn how to cool the board down when it's hot outside, so
Yeah.
burning the fish and making them flop. And same thing when it's cold. I even try to get the board to the temperature that's on, the water itself. But, what drew me to is this, I've been fishing since I've been 10, and through all these years, I'm 44 now. So, I mean, through all these years, I've always just fished, and I've always kind of fished alone. So I was like, I think it's time to start getting competitive, which I
Yeah.
wish I would have started this sooner, unfortunately, but I haven't. But it's no big deal. You can fish, even when you're 90.
Oh yeah.
I just like, let me just start doing this competitive, and I started doing it in New Jersey. That's where I moved down from New Jersey to South Carolina. But New Jersey, the fish ain't as big as South Carolina, so it was harder up there to fish. And there was a couple local clubs that I joined, but that was all around that same time when my son was born, so I didn't really get into it as hot and heavy. But just having the leisure to be able to do this, that's what got me into it. And when you get into it and you start catching fish, and one day you're at the top of leaderboard, and you look 2 hours later and you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
So one good thing about you can hold that lead for a while, but you constantly have to keep going out. I mean, when I get like this month, I want to be serious about it. So I want to, not just for the points, I want to win first place this month.
Yep.
So I have to keep going out. I mean, I was out today. I was out yesterday in the rain and the wind, and it's been very cold down here. So right now I'm in first place. I just checked before we got on, and I'm still holding that first place spot. So I'm going to keep going out. But I mean, we know that anytime you get out in the water, you could have a day where somebody comes on, in 3 hours and has 100 inches.
Yeah.
So the challenges are good, but you have to do it all month and keep at it, or you're not going to get up there. That's the thing. So you do have to put a lot of time into it.
Yep.
It's not like that 1 or 2 day tournament where where you stand. I mean, I could be first place for almost the whole month, and then somebody goes out and beats me by 10 inches, and, the following day. So I do like them. I mean, but just having the leisure to be able to do it, because financially be able to travel and do this full time, obviously we know how much it takes.
Oh yeah.
And, you have to have the sponsors, et cetera, to do it. So I just figured I'd start with the challenge series. I did qualify last year, but I didn't have enough PTO left to go down and go with you guys this year. So I'm definitely, my plan is to, qualify for next year. And I will probably go to the challenge series next year, and then I will also go to the national championship. So I kind of want to do both because I haven't experienced either one of them yet.
Yep.
So I'm, it's nice that he's breaking it up because it'll be 2 separate years, 2 separate years of PTO. So I'll be able to make both of them. I'll put
Spread it out a little bit. Yeah, I hear you.
But that's the reason why I got the kayak, and I was probably out for maybe 6 months, and I started looking at clubs, and I started really getting into it. And, KBF's been around now for I think 10 or 11 years or whatever.
Yeah.
12. So that's 5 years ago already. So I mean, they were there, but everything wasn't set in stone yet. They were still using Tourney X, which I really don't care for Tourney X. I think Fishing Chaos is a lot better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but they got into all that stuff, and
Merry Christmas cookies. Merry Christmas cookies.
Oh, look, they're being cute and bringing in.
Merry Christmas cookies.
They make cookies that they're going to eat.
Yeah, green one.
No.
You have to eat them.
We're getting a special visit from the chefs. Oh, you have to eat them. You're going to come over. You got to get on TV.
No, you have to eat.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Tell everybody
everyone.
hi.
Hi.
Come on in here, Gran. You got to get Peyton in front of the camera.
Peyton said no. She wants Mama. She wants the
You guys can have the cookie. There she is. So there's all my grandbabes. We got Sky right here. She's 7. And then here's
7 3/4.
7 3/4. And then we got Lila right here. How old are you?
4.
4. That's right. And Peyton just grabbed a cookie and then took off back that way.
Yeah.
But here, take these back in here. You guys eat them. Because Grandpa's not eating any more cookies. Thanks for coming in and saying hi.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you, Gran.
We're rolling gingerbread next.
Oh, gingerbread's next. So, yeah, they've been back there cooking after they went to Build-A-Bear earlier today with their Aunt Chauncey and had a good time. So Peyton is just got a cookie. And where you going, sweetie? Oh, you see all the lights? You got to come say hi? There we go. I figured we might get a visit during the show at some point in time. It's been awful quiet out there.
Yeah. It's good though.
But yeah, I mean, that's one thing I love about the state challenges because it gives you like you said, it's like a training ground, and you can put into it as much as you want or as little as you want. You know, it's hard. It's hard sometimes for, you know, like me, I live pretty much. I've got some bodies of water that I can catch, you know, maybe 15, 16s, you know, on a consistent basis. But if I need to go someplace to find like a 20 or, you know, 19s and 20s consistently, I've got a 90-minute drive in several directions. I just don't have a lot of waters around where I'm at where there's bigger fish. And here in Indiana, it's like if you're one of those guys that are, you know, 5 minutes away from the big bass ponds, you've got a really good shot of, you know, winning these challenges each year. But, you know, I like to get out and do it and promote KBF itself and, you know, try to catch the fish. Now, my brother Jeremy, he's going to be one that I expect to see on the leaderboard this coming year because he'll be one who spends many, many days on the water. He's not too far from some pretty decent fishing, and he's got some time to fish too, which does make it nice. But, you know, I do see you being up there on the leaderboard. And is okay. So down south, you're in South Carolina, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's your water temps like about these days?
So right now it's about 58. It actually was like 52 last week, and now it's 58 now, then jumped up to 60. So it fluctuates a lot, and that's what makes it so challenging right now because our temperatures were above average last week. Then this week they're going to be 50s and 30s, so it's going to drop that temperature, which I said, you know, which you guys will see a video this week about me fishing today. You know, I expect that temperature to be back down to 50 next weekend. So it goes from 60 to 50 so quick that, you know, the fish don't know what to do. So right now it's a little tough to catch them.
Yeah.
You know, the other day I went out, I limited out in 2 hours. You know, but then today I went out and I only caught 2 that I was able to put on the board, and I caught a bunch of pickerel, which kept on breaking all my line. But, you know, so today, you know, I was out yesterday and today, and, you know, yesterday I limited out in 2 hours. Today I caught 2 in 7 hours. So,
now, what do you catch them on this time of year?
I'm using lipless right now a lot still.
Okay.
So then, you know, today, you know, yesterday I caught them on lipless. Today I started with the lipless. I caught 1 on the lipless, which was countable. And then it just died off for like 3 hours. So I was like, all right, I think it's time to change up. So I went to the drop shot. As soon as I changed to the drop shot, I caught 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
So that's what my plan is next weekend too, is just I'm going to start really slowing down already. You know, but the morning bites has been better. And then it just like after like 9, 10 o'clock, it just dies off. So you grab it at nighttime, but you know, it's another reason why I started the challenges too, because, you know, a lot of people don't have the ability to really see it before. So I hope my videos get out there more so people can see how I measure the fish. And, you know, it's actually easy once you get that nerves out of the way when you first started. But once you start measuring the fish, it's just, I keep the board on an angle, jam their face against that bump, you know, the end of that, and just, I hold them there. I take one picture of my hand on it. Then I pull my hand away and take like 3 or 4. You know,
I got you.
It's just a routine that you just do so fast once you get the hook out of their mouth that, I mean, I can take a picture. You know, if I catch a fish, get the hook out, I can get it all done in like probably like 45 seconds maybe. You know, as he's flopping around. But, you know, once you do it all the time, you get really, you know, fast at it, you know. So that's another reason why I started the YouTube and wanted to get it up and running, is just because of that. And then, you know, the national championships, the challenge series gives the ability for me to also have content too for the channel, you know, because there's a lot of people out there that do the how-tos all the time. I know people like to see the how-tos. I understand that, but, you know, I try to make my videos almost like a, you know, like how we used to watch fishing shows. I mean, I don't have the professional, you know, editing and everything. I just use my own, you know, I use the Apple stuff, whatever the Apple one is.
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't think about what it is now. I got to memorize and look, but we all know. So I use the Apple, you know, use Apple to edit, but I try to put music to it, and I try to change them up all the time and try to make it like a show. You know, I try to keep them, you know, within that 15 minutes. Sometimes they get a little longer, sometimes they're shorter, but, you know, I try to make it like a show that you can actually watch, like a fishing show on a Saturday. You know, instead of just taking pictures and showing fish, I try to add some content to it. I'll tell you what I'm catching them on. you know, sometimes I'll actually give you some tips in the video too as well, you know. So I just try to mix it up, but you know, just lately I haven't been on the water as much, so I have, you know, been lately just been on like some more how-tos, but you know, the fishing will start getting heavy again. I think next month I may take off. I may still sign up and maybe go out one day just for the points, but I want to do like I think a lot more fishing, just fun fishing videos next month is my plan,
Yep.
and a bit more how-tos. So, you know, I'll definitely get that tube in there, how I did that, so everybody can see that and how simple it was.
Yeah, that's a project I'd really love to do over the wintertime. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, if you're going to do a tube, now's the time to do it, especially if it's wintertime and you got your off period, because I mean, that
Yeah.
first coat of paint, that first coat of paint, I would let set for a week, just let it get hard, make sure it's good, depending on what the temperature is, and then I just do the finish, you know, the finish on it, which really, if you could actually paint that, let it dry, and do the finish, and put the end caps on with some rivets, and I siliconed around it. I mean, you could really have it done in one day, but I still let the paint dry for at least a week.
Yeah, because they're already made. I'll just take them off the trailer, and then the guy had some stickers on them, so I'll just take it off and then clean it up real good, and then paint, you know, over the white that's kind of there. But that does make it nice. Now, you are also, and I love seeing this because this is something I would want, you know, I really want to push everybody in 2023 to participate in. You had also jumped in the Catch 22, and
Yes.
to me, that's fun because, and the way Chad's going to do it, you know, in the future, you know, whether you're in a boat or let me step back. Next year, I think the challenge, whatever we're going to call it, it's going to be bank and kayak. But the cool thing about this is if you're somebody who fishes from the bank, or you're somebody who's getting their start in their first, you know, less expensive kayak that, you know, get you on the water and get you floating. He's going to work on having some different prizes and whatnot from some bigger sponsors so that you could have a chance at, you know, getting into a drawing to win, you know, one of those biggers like a Hobie or an Old Town or a Bonafide, you know, is something that's worth, you know, kind of getting into, while also taking that donation that you made to fish the challenge to go to some veteran organization. So it should be really cool. He's got some various ideas and things he's going to throw around, because it's such a good cause, but it's another fun way to get people used to, you know, obviously getting out fishing, you know, taking the picture on the board and kind of learning that whole, you know, process and things like that. But it should be a fun, different way because, you know, the way he and I talked about it, you have KBF, which is like the professional tournament series side of it. And then we say professional because, hey, even if you're fishing in a state challenge, if you win, you could win some money. But then he's going to have KBF on the other side, and that's going to be the knucklehead bass fishing side. So that, you know, it's everybody who doesn't care so much about tournament fishing and all that other stuff. It's just a way to fun fish, but kind of have some really cool challenges as we go. So I'm looking forward to see how that pops off coming around the spring. I know last year when he did the Catch 5, they had the Dink Slayer challenges. And I was like, bro, you were running those like in January when we still had ice on the water. I said, I love fishing, but I'm not going to go put the kayak out there and scooting around on top of the ice. It just ain't going to happen. But, you know, it's just kind of one of those things. But what kind of, so again, you're in South Carolina, so you're still in warmer water. Do you fish like are they like real popular waters that a lot of people know about, or you have kind of like your own little hidey holes that are still public, but it's like, oh, hush, hush, this is my secret spot? How do you kind of find where you want to fish to be competitive? Because I mean, when you're leading the state, and especially a southern state where you guys pretty much fish year round, I mean, it's still not that easy because, you know, you still got to put in the work to stay ahead of folks. How do you kind of find places that you like to fish?
Really, I mean, I started out with Goose Creek Reservoir, which is a smaller reservoir. That's a lot of videos you probably see. Like my last video, I had a fishless video, was there. That's a very small reservoir. That last January I won there, and it's just super, super. I think it's only like 200 and some acres, maybe 500 acre max. But there's like, you go there and there's about 50 boats there all the time, so it's really hard. But everybody knows Lake Marion. That's where I'm at. That's where I do most of my fishing, is Lake Marion. It's a big lake. I mean, it's so big that, I mean, you know, today I saw one boat. I mean, a lot of people ain't out right now. You know, most people on Lake Marion are like the party pontoon, so they're not out this time. But I mean, the serious bass fishermen, I saw one boat today. So I launched from a very small ramp, so it's kind of quiet there all the time, which is nice.
Okay.
And, like when I go there, I have the mornings to myself, and when I come back, I'm usually by myself. There's like I think the max I've seen there is maybe 4 people. So it's a public launch, but it's like not a popular launch because it's a very narrow ramp. So
Oh, okay. So it's a little more beneficial to you as a kayak angler.
yeah. So it's a narrow
I
ramp.
got
And right
you.
now the water levels come down. They drain the lakes down here sometimes where it's almost like people have their docks and their boats are sitting on the ground. So they drain it in the wintertime, and it's already starting to affect because Marion runs into Moultrie. Moultrie runs right out to the Charleston Harbor. So when they start lowering Moultrie, obviously it's going to affect the upper lake, which is Marion. So it's down right now about 2 feet. So I've hit a couple stumps today when I was motoring along, which wasn't there before. So they're lowering the water, which is
Gotcha.
changing the characteristics of the fish too as well. So it's been a little tough. But I'm at Lake Marion. That's where most of my videos are right now, and that's where I'm
Okay.
catching them. I mean, I caught a 21-incher yesterday. I could have squeezed 21 in the quarter, but I don't try. With the monthly challenges, I don't try to get. I could really probably pinch the tail and really got it, but it was 20 though. But but I do like the challenges, and that's where I've been fishing a lot, and this gives me content for the channel. I will be at Lake Murray in February. So that's the second, I think, the trail stop for KBF. So I will fish that one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'll be there. That's where I actually met on the Water Innovations. When I met Denny and Mike when they're out there.
Okay.
And Eric Jackson was there at the last one, so it was cool. They was there. He signed their kayaks for him and stuff on the trailer. But yeah, that's where I met those guys. So I wanted to get one of their trailers. That's the trailer I'm going to be getting. I wanted to get one of their trailers a long time ago, but we know they're not cheap, but they are very well built. So I went with a utility trailer. Then I went to the Will I loader. Now I'm going to go back to the trailer because I've had like 6 kayak trailers. I've had enclosed, I've had open, I've taken little John boat trailers and put some PVC bunks on them. So I'm always all over the place. But I'm going back to the trailer and I'm sticking there. But this way, I can put my son's kayak on there and my wife when she ever gets she's scared to go out in the waters down here because of the alligators.
I understand that. I've seen a few videos and it's like, I don't know.
I got chased by one on Lake Marion about a month ago, and I think it was protecting its nest. I'm an alligator specialist, but it was probably a good 10, 11 feet, and it was lingering around me, but it kept on getting closer to me. So I'm like, I keep looking in the corner of my eyes, and of course that's where all the fish were. And I keep looking, and he or she's getting closer to me, and getting closer, and I'm like, okay, it's not backing off. So I took my paddle, I slapped it on the water, didn't phase it. So I was like, all right, I'm leaving. I turned around, and as soon as I turned the kayak around, it lunged at the kayak. So thank God I took off really fast. But and it followed me all the way out to where there was like a little channel, and it came to the T. And she followed me all the way out till I left that area. So obviously it was protecting the nest. So I've had some, close encounters.
Yeah.
I went out in the dark. I'm usually going out in the dark, and I went into about a foot of water because I was on a part of Marion where I haven't been before. And all of a sudden, the water just dispersed everywhere. There must have been like 12 of them. And they must have just been like sleeping in the morning and like a foot of water. And the kayak was rocking. I was all over the place. So, yeah, I got a little scared on that one, too. But, yeah, so I'm going back to the trailer so I can, eventually with my son and my wife, they can come out, and I'll have the trailer for that. So I'm going to stick with that and get rid of all my racks and stuff on the truck. So.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing this competitively, like serious, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to that point because we know these guys do this all the time and are really good at it. I don't have live scope. I don't have any of that. So I try to keep it, pretty simple on my kayak, even though I have everything on it. But, I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. That's my goal maybe overall. But right now my concentration is my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And, sharing the experiences with everybody on the water. People who haven't kayak fished before can watch it and see how I'm doing it and get some information about it. And that's really what my concentration is, my YouTube channel, helping people get out in the water. And then now the tackle for veterans I'm starting, that's another thing too, is to help people, get on the water as well. Veterans get on the water and help support.
That's great.
I want to be able to get kayaks eventually for people who can't, don't have the money to be able to even afford it. I want to get at least a decent kayak around maybe the 15 or 2,000 mark, So I even talked to Chad about that, see if he could, once I build up enough, I know it's going to take time. It ain't going to happen overnight, but,
Exactly.
Come in, maybe I can speak with Bonafide, see if he has a connection there where, maybe I can get it at a reduced rate because it's going to benefit, and they can ship it directly to people's houses. I don't want,
Yep.
I just want everything, I'm going to probably hook up with a couple of local tackle shops, maybe even talk with you or whatever too. But, I want to see if I can reduce rates that donation dollar can go a lot farther. So that's what my concentration is right now. I'll still do the monthlies. I do want to, concentrate for the national championship next year and all that. But, it's really just the YouTube and helping our veterans, and eventually I'm hoping to take that, just for veterans to be able to actually get it to a whole bunch of other people as well too.
Yeah. Now, have you fished any of the trails events yet?
I did. My first one was last year, Lake Murray.
Okay.
I went out. I only practiced the day before and found nothing. And Gene was actually launching with me at the same time. And it's the first time I actually met Gene Jensen in person. So he was launching out the same ramp I was. So he goes out, and all of a sudden he comes flying back at me. He's like, I have to go back. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, oh, my battery's going to die. I says, you going to make it back? He says, yeah. So that was the first time I actually met him, was on the water when his battery was dying. But,
man.
Yeah. So I fished that the day before I did the practice. And then I went out the second day, and I was fishing. And as I was coming back, because I actually signed up for both days, trail 1 and 2, I caught nothing. The competition day, I caught nothing. And I was headed back to the ramp, and the drive on my Hobie broke. So my wife was coming out that night with my son, and they were going to stay at the house I rented for myself. And she came out, and I said, I'm not going to fish next day. So we ended up just going home that night. And actually, Chad was going to offer me the fin drives, but the fin, it was for an older Hobie, so the pins I think changed, so it won't line up. But he actually called me and says, I have a set of fins for you that I can get. But he asked what year mine was, and he says, oh, they won't fit that one. So
no, okay.
But yeah, it was my first trail. So I caught nothing, and he practiced 1 day this year. I actually want to go out and try to practice at least 3 days.
There you go.
I know he's changing the rules to make it a little bit more even, playing ground, that, he's only allowed the last week before.
Yeah.
I think what he's going to do. And I think 2 weeks before that, you can't fish, but I guess a month out, I guess you could pretty much fish, up to that. But, it's going to help those guys that come out of state. It's going to help those guys that have to travel, and they only get that week to practice fish. So it kind of makes it a little fair for everybody,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's like when we were down at the National on Kentucky Lake, and it's like watching the videos that Jeff Little put together of Cody and Russ way up in the creeks somewhere, the work that they put themselves through to kind of get away from Kentucky Lake and, way back in the deeper water, chasing smallies the size that I've never seen before. But, I guess they were out there camping for like 3 weeks prior. They were doing everything they could to get as much information, going into that. But, me, Matt, and Jeremy went down there, and we were just going to have a good time. And, it was just one of those things where we were there more for the experience and meeting all the people. Yeah, the fishing was fun. I say that knowing we got on the water 2 days in a row and it's 29 degrees. But, the water temps were already down in the 50s, and I didn't even think about that when I got back and was trying to fish in another state challenge. When I come back, I go to the boat ramp, and there's already like an inch of ice on the water at the ramp. And then, lucky for me, a boat had already launched. So I was able to crack my way through the ice. But then I get out on the main lake, and I was thinking it might be in the 50s. Oh no, it was like 38. But I'm like, you know what? This is probably not going to do much for me. But I got guys around here that love to fish in this cold, and as long as the water's not hard, they're putting up numbers. Throwing those jerk baits, in freezing cold water, and they're still getting them to bite. But me, I'm like, I'm going to do some content around the house and inside and catch up on some videos. And I'll probably see them again around March, unless we make a road trip down south somewhere, and then we'll have some fun. But
yeah, we get our waters down here I think last January when I was out, it was actually a colder winter than normal, but the water temperatures were in the 20s.
Yeah.
The water, because the air temperature stays warm enough, so many days, 1 or 2 days that week, it just, the ice, the water never freezes.
Yeah.
The water gets cold, but it doesn't freeze. Only thing it freezes is your hands and your reels. When you're out there casting, and the ice builds up on all your, eyelets and on your reel. It was constantly breaking that, but it does get cold down here. When I first moved down, I was expecting it to not get as cold as it did, and it does. So I've been down here for now, I think 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So, I like it. That was the reason why I moved down here too. There's some family, for getting closer with family. But I said to my wife, I said, we moved down there, we're going to get a boat and I'm going to fish all year round. So I ended up buying a boat when we came down here, but I want to take my son out and he's just not ready to be on the boat. So I'd actually end up
Yep.
selling the boat. I bought a brand new boat and I sold it for now. So I think down the line, we're going to get a boat again, but right now it's just strictly kayak.
Yep.
So that's what I've been concentrating on, this in the channel. So I said this past year, it's been really, really, I've been dedicated to it. I'm trying to get 2 to 3 videos out a week.
There you go.
And I'm doing those shorts. I mean, it's just, it's amazing. You do a short and you pick up 10 subscribers over something stupid, but it's what people like. I mean, unfortunately, today,
well, I mean, and like I learned, especially with COVID and this and that, more and more people got interested in fishing or being outdoors and outdoors activities. And a lot of them started with that. So you probably have a lot of people who have gone through like their bank fishing, phase and got some basic skills and, learned some of the basic knots and some of the basic stuff. And to me, the kayak is the perfect transition, into kind of taking that next step. We've got a few folks out here, in the chat that, Cairo, who's, I think she's from South Carolina or was there or is down around that region somewhere, but she picked up her first Jackson kayak, and I've seen her out in that a couple of times. And, and I'm all about that, whatever kayak you find that suits your lifestyle and get you out on the water, whether you're paddle, or, doing the whole kayak motor thing like I'm doing. It's okay. Kara says she lived there, so she's the. But I mean, that's just one of the things that and that's one thing I like about a kayak. I mean, some people talk about John boats and this and that, but a kayak, you can throw them up on cars, you can throw them in the back of a truck. It's just an affordable, easy way to start out and just get off of that bank a little bit and, be able to fish just a little bit way. So guys like you and Wendell Fishing and my brother Jeremy's going to start getting into making some videos, because he got into it. My friend Matt does it on Twitch. And, I met some of his friends that were, they Twitch stream their kayak fishing on a live stream while they fish. But I think it's just one of those great ways that you can get, off of the bank and open up the whole world and not have to spend tons of money or gas on a boat to do it. It just makes it really, really nice.
I like the kayak better than the boat. I've had multiple boats, and just being on a kayak, even if I'm by myself most of the time, it's so much more enjoyable. Because I don't really, my line of work, my day job. I mean, none of the people I'm around kayak fish.
Yeah.
So it's just, I come across some kayakers in the water, but most of the time they're fishing, so I don't want to bother them. Most of the guys I catch, I think it was a low country kayak, I think, or whatever they're called. So it's a local club. I thought about joining it, but I kind of just want to stick with I don't want to have a bunch of clubs, I just want to have like one or two, just concentrate on, just KBF. And it just, I do saltwater fishing too down here, but a lot of people like the freshwater videos more. So that's what I've been kind of sticking with. But, I like the kayak, I like the kayak better than the boat. So I don't think.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of these days, if we ever get down that way, we'll have to hook up. But for sure, we'll have to hook up down in Diddle Landing when we're down. A lot of people, I think Chad's going to build that into like the destination with him kind of being in the middle of all these different lakes. And, my biggest fish I ever caught was 8 pounds. I think it was 8, 6, 7 back when I used to live in Texas. And that's when we were bank fishing. That was probably either right before or right after, right as I was getting out of the Army years ago, back in 96 or so. But, being down there where you guys have that Florida stream where they get a little bit bigger, but I mean, we have some bigger fish up here too. It's just like a rare, where some of you guys might catch one each month for the month long. I might catch a 21. Well, my biggest ever on a catch is a 21. And, it's just like, that may be a once a year thing. Seeing I've only caught 121. I've caught a couple of 20s over the last several years, but there are days where we can get into some 17, 18s and 19s, and we call it a good day. But I mean, it's just one of those things. Speaking of which, what is your catch PB? I think I'm going to start a thing since we all use catch boards anyway. But what's your PB on the catch board?
To be honest with you, I don't even know. I think possibly maybe 22 3/4. I think it was my biggest. I don't think I've ever hit the 23-inch mark yet. I think it's 22 and 3/4 if I had to think about it. But there may be 23, but I'd have to look it through. I'd have to look on my phone and look at the Fishing Chaos app because I think it keeps track of it there. But I think 22 and 3/4. But I mean, there's guys down here on the monthlies are catching 23s and 24s.
Yeah.
It's amazing, you know.
Yeah, it's like our big fish. Now, the big fish I saw on the catch board this year in Indiana, and it shocked me, was a 23. So that tells me they're here, but they're rare. Because I watch, there in Indiana is very, very competitive. I mean, we've got Mike Elsa, Brian Sparks, Glenn Langstrom. I mean, there is Matt Kiefer. There's a ton of guys who fish the trail events and that are, they're always in the top 20, top 25 in the national championships right here from Indiana. I mean, and they're hammers. Sam Jones, who actually works for Chad, we're just surrounded by all these hammers, but it's really kind of cool because they really show that, hey, there are bigger fish in this state. If we can find them, you can find them. So, I mean, it's kind of cool having enough guys like that around that say, okay, they're here. You just got to figure out what bodies of water they're on and then how to figure out how to catch them. So it's been pretty good. I mean, I'm a guy who kayak fished since 2014, but, for my first several years, it was just it wasn't a sun dolphin, but it was just one of those cheapy sit on tops. And most of the time I didn't even have a fish finder. And up until this last year, it was just a little Garmin Striker 4. Tell me how deep the water was and what the temperature was, and then when I started playing a little more this year, I did get the Garmin with the live scope and stuff like that. But, that's a whole new world into itself that it takes a good long time to really learn the side imaging, the down imaging. And I jumped into the live scope way too fast because if I was going to advise somebody is, if you're going to get down inside imaging, learn that really well. Learn to understand what you're seeing. And then when you're playing with live scope, sometimes that can be more of a hindrance than a help because you may not know what exactly type of the fish they are. And you may be sitting here fishing for something that may not even be a bass. Yeah. But what electronics do you run on the Hobie?
I just have a Garmin Striker 7.3 side imaging, just down inside, and that's it. I don't think I'll ever go to live scope because 90% of my fishing career, I never had electronics, and I can find fish with just working the banks, working open structure, and I did pretty well. Yes, the electronics help me now because I will see the marks. With the side imaging, I will see the tree stumps buried off to the side, and I will see fish. But like you said, most time they're bass. But I work structure, and the temperature and the structure underwater is what I work the most. With the electronics. But I mean, I didn't have electronics till I had a kayak and I had a boat. So I worked most of my fishing time, without it, and I did pretty well.
Yeah, I've been a big bank beater my whole life, and I'm going to learn to offshore fish. But this year, with my partnership with Old Town and Humminbird, I've got Humminbirds on my actual boat, and they're just smaller ones. But this year, I'm going to start out probably with I'll probably get a little bit bigger monitor, like a 10-inch, and start out without the Mega Live, and maybe later in the summer. But I'm going to make myself really learn the down inside because I've seen so many people have so much success, especially with side imaging. Like you said, you can pick little things out and then that gives you targets to fish. And I really want to focus on learning those before I get back into playing with the forward facing, maybe for deeper water, because I think I jumped in a little too fast trying to absorb like all of the electronics instead of working my way into it. So that's probably where I'll end up this year, just kind of starting from zero again and working my way up to it. But, who knows?
Yeah, with side imaging, the only thing I would suggest is I don't use the automatic, how far it reaches out. I leave it set at 30 feet and that's it.
Okay.
So I keep everything at 30 feet so I know what's 30 feet in both directions, and that's all I do. So at least I know I don't let go past that because to me, it's not as accurate. Even sometimes I may even turn it down to like 15 when I'm, fishing narrower channels or whatever. I
Right.
will set, the side imaging down to only like 15 from either side of my boat. And it's a lot clearer, and I will see the marks a little bit better.
Yep. And see, tips like that are good, video ideas, just something that you think, okay, this is useful to me. Somebody else might get a little something out of this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It'd be a good short. I guess you could go through go through it and just press this and just set it at 15 feet or whatever, and you'll see the difference. But yeah, I mean, that's just my concentration this year, and moving forward. Who knows? I may start fishing more trails down the line. I'm looking at maybe a semi-retirement type of deal. Maybe when I'm 44, so maybe when I'm 50, 55, I may start doing some more trail. But I know I'm not going to make a ton of money off it. I know I'm going to be losing money for the year, but at least more. But I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the kayak and just get better at kayak fishing before I think I ever go really serious. If I do it all, I think it's just going to be the YouTube channel and entertaining people and helping people, and be able to raising the awareness for kayak fishing, and also helping the veterans and stuff out. It's really turned into since I've done this over the past year, even said to my wife the other day, I'm changing. I want to be more, I want to help more people. I want to be more giving. And I never used to be like that. I mean, I've always cared about people, but since I've started YouTube, I want to be able to, do more and share more with people, which is good. So it actually made me a better person, believe it or not.
Yep.
So
I'm kind of the same way. It's like I'm a fan of bass tournaments. Like I loved watching Major League Fishing when they were doing the catch as many as you can. I've always been a fan of BASS. My brother and I used to fish those tournaments a lot, along with a lot of team stuff and stuff like that. But so we're still fans of all the different bass fishing platforms, and I'm still a fanboy of the Christine Fisher, Gene, and Guillermo, and all the top dogs doing the trail stuff, doing all the traveling around. That's really not my thing. The national championship, to me, it's like a little different situation, because, it's like a year-long goal. If I can have fun with the state challenges, because that, like you said, it allows you to fish and participate in, get you a little competition, so you can, I talk smack with my buddy Jerry, my buddy Matt, Sandwich Searcher here in the chat, my brother Jeremy. It gives us a little smack talking deal, but you're not out trying to compete against the pros who do this every day for a living, and it's a whole different ball game. But then when you go to the national championship, it's like you get to see, I'll get to meet you and other guys that are like us, just kind of doing and having the fun thing with the challenges, and then going to the big dog, the big show, and, laying it out there with the big dogs and see how we do. Just making that top 100, is a goal for a lot of people. And, I was blessed to be able to kind of bring that, and still waiting for my board to get here. But, it's one of those things where it's fun, because I love that side of it, because you can get some competition, but you can have some fun at the same time and not take yourself too serious, but enjoy, being a fan of those folks that really do.
Yeah. And then, another thing about kayak fishing too, it's a lot different than the, boating competition, that we're more willing to help others.
Yes.
On the water. I mean, a lot of people say, the boating side of it, those guys are cutthroat. As far as kayak fishing, we're more like, if there's a problem on the water, we'll help you. I will help you over winning that day. That's just how I think a lot of other people are that same way too in the kayak community, which is nice.
Yep. And I've actually run into that. I mean, I take a spare catch board with me. I have a spare net. I have a spare oar, whatever somebody may need to continue with their day. I like to came to. And then, Michael made a great point, and this will be something we'll be talking about later on, but Christine Fisher gave her kayak away to, a lady from Mexico who was basically, it sounded like she was bank fishing. And, she was, I guess they said she was one fish away from, kind of winning it all. But the fact that Christine was able to take and leave a kayak for her so she can be even more competitive down there with the big boys was just, really awesome. But that's the kayak fishing community. I mean, we'll tow you where you need to go if you're broke down, if you need batteries, line, rod, baits, whatever. I've noticed this a lot with our community. We're very giving and share just, whatever we have is yours too. I mean, it's an incredible community. They've done a really good job.
Yeah. And just remember, you never know. Just, fishing's like football. It could be any given Sunday. We go down to that national championship and we could win it. You never know.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about fishing. It's like I tell people, I'm not fishing for any fish. I'm just fishing for the next big one. Whatever. If I catch 12 dinks, I had a great day. It's awesome. But every time I cast that line, that tug is the drug. You just never know when a monster is gonna be on the other end of that line. I've been chasing a PB since 1998 here in Indiana. I caught one back then that was like 6 pounds, 6'7", 6'7", 8" or something like that. And I have been fishing every day since to beat that. I never expected to catch the 8-pounder that I caught in Texas. But I mean, you just never know when it can happen.
Yeah, I know. I got to carry a scale with me. Ever since I never carried a scale. And, I got into kayak fishing and there was no scales. It was just a measuring board. But
yep.
I think I've probably caught just by picking it up. I would definitely have probably caught a 6'7". I think I even caught like an 8-pounder based on, picking it up and being around fish as long as I have been. But
yep.
Who knows? I may even caught a 9 or 10-pounder. I mean, I had one that was 22 3/4 was long, but it definitely still had a big belly to it too. It was pretty heavy, so who knows? I got to start carrying a scale with me though, but
yeah, just because if you're in a land where that big old double digit is possible, you just never know.
Because people ask me all the time, well, what's your heaviest fish? I don't know. I've never weighed a fish. I mean, I don't think I've ever weighed any fish in my whole life. So I got to start because, people ask me, but, usually I measure the fish and try to get them right back in the water as fast as I can.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one thing I do love about our sport is we've got to put them right back in where we took them out of. So they're not too far, from where we caught them too. So that makes it really nice. All right, man. Well, I'm about almost to the hour mark. I wasn't going to go this long because, like I said, I got the babes here, but my voice is normally good for about an hour. So it was certainly a pleasure having you on. What I will do is I'll go back and tag your channel and everything in the description of the comment. Guys, go check out Ryan's video. Give him some love and support. We can all learn something from anybody at any given time. We all fish in so many different places. And, if you're ever down like in the lakes that he's fishing, then you'll have somebody to contact, and I'll drop his Instagram stuff too. But let me see what Salmon Searcher's got going on because my boy knows he's probably got something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's probably talking about your GoFundMe.
Yeah, so I mean, if you just go to GoFundMe right now, I'll send you the link too. But if you just go to GoFundMe, Tackle for Veterans. If you search that, it does come up, and you'll see my name, Ryan Rice. I don't have it on RJM. I actually have it on my name. So if you'll see organized by Ryan Rice. I just wanted to keep it that way for now because it was the first time I've ever done GoFundMe. So, I didn't want to put RJM Fishtales. I wanted to use my name because I'm just doing this for now. And as soon as I can get the company up and running, then I got to figure out with the taxes and everything. I got to figure out how I'm going to start collecting donations that way. Because when I was talking to Chad, I was thinking about doing a nonprofit, but he told me don't do it. He says it's a lot tougher than people think, with the treasurer and everything. But I've had a construction company in the back, so I know LLCs and stuff like that. So once I get that up and running, I'll let you guys all know. But yeah, I'll send you the link to JT as well in the video. And if you go to my video, I think I have actually labeled the video "Tackle for Veterans." It's in there too on my YouTube channel.
Yep.
But I'll get that all to you guys. But yeah, if you just go to GoFundMe and Tackle for Veterans, you'll see it there. So
that's really awesome.
If somebody gives $1, it just shows the momentum that people are contributing. And like I said, as soon as I'm going to keep updating everybody on YouTube, so you're going to know where that money's going. I don't know if there's a transfer fee when I do it. Yeah, I'll find out. But GoFundMe, I'm not sure if there is. But basically, I'm going to keep updating you guys of where the money's going to go, and I'm going to talk to all you guys too and see who we want to give the first prize to. Well, the first tackle to. So I'll have to figure out a way to do that. I'm not going to try to make it like a competition. It's just going to be nominations, and we'll just keep going down the line and just say, you may call me and say, hey, can you give it to this guy? He deserves it this month. That's kind of what I want to do, and I'll get the guys.
There you go.
That's what I'm going to do. So as soon as I can get like a couple $100 together, I want to start putting out rods and reels, and then
There
Once
you
I
go.
start getting thousands, I'm going to start buying kayaks for people and getting them out to them.
That'd be amazing. That is really awesome. That's really cool. And you know, there's no better feeling of helping, giving back. I mean, because a lot of us, we were able to get through the last couple of years without a ton of difficulties, and not everybody made it that way. But it's one of those things you find yourself, if you're in the position to be able to help somebody, that's amazing. But also, if you're one of those people that can benefit from somebody's help, don't think of it about, oh, I'm just trying to do something for charity. There's folks out here who want to support you and help you. And, whether it's making you, learn how, making you a better angler by teaching the various tips, tricks, and things that we know to help you learn something faster than, maybe the hard way that we had to learn it. Or if you're getting a, rod or reel, upgrade that will help you along the way, or even just some baits. It's one of those things where you have fishermen supporting fishermen, and you guys, we're really big into that here, and you guys know the whole Fish and Fam is the same way, and that's why we call it the Fish and Fam. I mean, we are truly a family and a community of people who supports all these folks. It's not just about me or Jeremy. It's about us and all of us, the whole family, supporting each other. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and let you guys get ready for Debo in about 35 minutes. Ryan, it was a pleasure having you on the show tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming by. Guys, you're going to see me. I'm going to be live with Wendell Fishing on Tuesday. I think it's at 8:30, but I'll post the information on Instagram and in the community tab. And then I'm going to have Wendell on my show. And then after that, we're going to get into inviting some of the folks that I met during the national championship and getting them in the lives, so we can, all ooh and ah at some of the cool folks out there that get to travel around and do this for a living. But again, make sure you guys check out RJM Fishtales. Ryan, I'll let you, if you got a tagline or anything that you say on the way out.
No, I always just say, protect yourself from the sun, because I dealt with skin cancer. So I always just say, protect yourself from the sun, and I'll catch you guys in the waters. I always end my videos. But I do want to say, before we do close out, I put out videos before that if anybody ever needs to talk to me about anything or wants to talk, I can be reached across social medias. I'm across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And everything's under RJM Fishtales. So you guys can DM me or reach me in any way if you guys have questions, whether it's personally, fishing, whatever. I'm reachable. My email is rjmfishtales@icloud.com. So, I'm reachable, and my phone number is on all my social medias too. So I want to let everybody know that. So any questions, you guys can always reach out to me.
That's awesome. I certainly appreciate it. I did see that Nathan asked a question. I don't really plan on fishing any of the trail events. That's really not my gig. If I get an opportunity to go to a trail event that maybe is close by just to meet people and stuff, maybe some day down the road. But realistically, I'm more about promoting the Catch 22, the fish ops stuff, the state challenges. Now, I'm not just saying that I won't go to some, trail event and fish it someday, but maybe a couple years down the road. But that's really not my gig. Jeremy, on the other hand, you might see him out at some trail events here in the next year or two, but we'll see how that goes. But for me, I've had my fill of actual fishing tournament days, and I'm just all about, having fun and promoting the sport for everybody, whether you want to do it for fun, do it part-time, or, be the next Christine Fisher, Gene Jensen, or Guillermo, who knows. But with that said, Indiana's starting to play. Army already won. I'm going to book out of here and go spend a little bit of time with the grandbabies before they go to bed. But as always, get outside when you can and make some memories. Or in this case, I'm going to go inside and make some memories. One cast at a time.